Yo, 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 what it do, Center fans? This is your host, Jay Heezy, formerly number 27 on the field, but always number one in your hearts. Here with me today, you know who it is, my right-hand man, number 9 on the field, our captain and fearless leader, the Brayden Weight Room Willie Willis. And this is the podcast on the prairie. B. Willie. Hey, brother. If it's one thing that you can rely on me for, is to bring the enthusiasm.
For sure. No doubt.
All right. So, doesn't matter the results of this weekend. I'm going to show up and show out regardless. All right. So you can rely on Jay Hall to give you some good entertainment, at least for the next 30 minutes. All right. So lock in with me. If you're in the car or if you're using us for background noise or if you're paying attention to the podcast at all, we appreciate you. Or, yeah, whatever you're doing, we appreciate you tuning in. So, Brayden, sometimes I don't think people understand what really goes into playing H-back, bro. You have to be able to play everything.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, you have to be able to run. You have to be able to catch. You have to be able to pass pro. You got to run block. You got to be in line, wing, split out. And, I mean, in this, this year's situation, you got to be able to throw a little bit. So you got to do a lot.
Hey, man, that's kind of like our friends at Plainview Legal Group. They practice a lot of different types of law and do them all well.
Plainview Legal Group focuses primarily on property law and business matters, including eminent domain, inverse condemnation, real estate transactions, oil and gas title examination, adverse possession, quiet title, and other boundary disputes.
Plainview Legal Group also handles estate planning and probate, from simple wills to proving undue influence.
Additionally, their attorneys negotiate, draft, review, litigate all kinds of commercial contracts for individuals and businesses across various industries throughout Oklahoma.
To schedule your free consultation, visit their website at www.plainviewlegal.com. Give them a call at 405-310-0183 or email them at info@plainviewlegal.com. Please see show notes for important disclaimer information. Birthday boy. How old you turn this weekend? Your birthday was
November 11th on Friday.
Yeah, Friday.
Yeah, Friday. I turned the big 2-3 Jordan year, as they would say. But yeah, turned 23 on Friday. It's a nice little birthday. Mm-hmm. And well, really, it was just nice because of, the people in my life, checking on me and everything. But other than that, I was traveling the whole day, so, but other than that, it was good.
Yeah. You were all over Twitter, bro. I was like, this is the biggest birthday celebration that the OU team has had this year. I'm like, this boy's name is getting so many likes. It's a great day.
No, it was pretty cool. And then my mom said something. My mom has almost become more popular on Twitter than me because she's a lot more active than me.
I noticed that.
Yeah, she's a lot more active than me. She responds to everybody.
Yeah.
So if y'all want to interact with someone, go talk to my mom because I'm not on Twitter right now. But my mom is, and she will interact with y'all. But don't be talking crazy to my mama now because I will come to you. But, yeah.
That's so funny that you said that because I noticed that here lately. I'm like, she is enjoying this Twitter run that she's on, posting after the games, telling you happy birthday. I see her in the comments. I'm like, she's just spreading the love, bro.
2,000 likes on her birthday pics of me, our birthday post of me. Sorry, but yeah. So I was like, oh, okay, mama got a little clout.
Yeah. How did that make you feel? How did seeing all those numbers on your day? Because, bro, like, it's one thing to go earn it. Like, it's one thing to, play a game and know that you did good and people acknowledge. But for people to acknowledge you on your day just for you, just for being you, we talked about last week how we didn't celebrate our birthdays very much. Does it make you feel any particular way, or are you just grateful?
Yeah, not in any particular way. I'm just grateful. It's pretty cool to see. But, at the end of the day, like I treat, criticism on the football field and everything else in life, the opinions that matter most to me are the people that are closest to me, you know, so my mom, my dad, my closest family and friends. So that's what really means the most to me. So I got, you know, the birthday wishes and checkups and everything from them that I needed. So it was nice.
Yeah. Any gifts? Any nice things?
I did. They're a little out of reach right now. Should I go get them?
Yeah, bro, go ahead. Go get your
All right.
Show Sooner Nation what type of gift you're working with on your birthday for those watching on YouTube.
Yes, I got a couple of gifts. I don't know if y'all can hear me. So the first one is this really cool painting that my best friend got me. And if you're on YouTube, you can see this. If you're not, go on YouTube and go see it real quick, or we'll probably have a clip of it. I don't know. But
That's
yeah,
nice.
the further you get away from it, it looks like an actual picture. And then, but it's a painting.
Yeah.
You see the ref right there, and you know the little broomstick that they be shooting, and all that other stuff. It's actually really cool.
That's cool. That's genuine. Who made that?
My best friend Lena.
Ooh, Elena.
And then last but not least, as my mom would call it, a little friend of mine sent me flowers. Favorite color is blue. So she sent flowers. And
we name Lena, but we don't name this friend.
No, that's earned. That's earned.
Okay.
That privilege is earned. You know, that's trials and tribulations, and you know, that's earned. You know, it's a little bit too.
I will say Lena has been around for the podcast for a while. She's a fan favorite.
Yes, no doubt. So that, you know, that's earned.
I'm glad you had a good birthday, bro. Outside of the Saturday result, since last week, since we last recorded last Thursday, it's funny. I was talking to a friend of mine, and she went to Vegas, and she was telling me how she had a great time and saw all the shows and did everything Sin City has to offer. And she was like, "How's your past couple of days been?" And I was like, I took some kids to school. We put up Christmas decorations. We made tacos the other night.
Brotherly duties, if you will.
I'm like, I sound like a dad, honestly. But I mean, it's funny because I enjoy it. Like I'm happy with the simple things, you know. I don't mind. So
you're gonna be a great father.
Yeah,
hopefully years down the line, though. You don't need no. I don't need no little J Halls.
No time soon.
Little J Halls running around yet.
Yeah. Yeah. I told her, I was like, you know, I've been studying. I have. Remember, I told you I was preparing for a test.
Mm-hmm.
My test is Thursday. My Series 3 exam is Thursday, so I'm excited. I'm ready. I still have some more practice tests to take, so I'll keep you guys updated on that. But outside of that, bro, I've had a nice, simple weekend.
Jay, can you remember a time in college where you gave the ball away, and what did that feel like?
Honestly, bro, I fumbled last year versus Kansas, but I recovered the fumble, so it's all good.
You know, that's a horrible feeling. It's kind of like the feeling when you have to pay rent every month. You're basically paying someone else's mortgage.
Everyone pays for a place to call home, so why not pay yourself? When you pay the mortgage on a house that you're purchasing, you lower the amount you owe, and you build equity as the home increases in value. That's more money for you.
Find out today what mortgage loan amount you qualify for by calling Matt with the McDaniel Mortgage Group at 214-435-1988 or visit www.appwithmatt.com with 2 T's. He will explain the mortgage process and get you ready to buy your new home.
And after you find out how much house you can purchase, contact Phil and Thelene with Wed Properties Group. Call them at 405-322-5632. Phil and Thelene Webb and their team are waiting to take you shopping for your new home.
Let's work together to find the house that meets your needs and fits your budget. You might be able to celebrate the holidays in your new home. That will be a present hard to top.
Man, have you been on Twitter? Like I know you said earlier that, yeah, okay. All right. I figured you haven't been on Twitter. Bro, I didn't tweet a thing on Saturday because I didn't want to participate in the negativity. There's nothing, no insight. There's literally nothing I could have said on Saturday. Anything I would have posted would have been for the likes, So
Right.
I refrained from saying anything. I think I might have liked one or two negative things about how I think our special guest, as a matter of fact, that's coming on, had said something about it being an all-time low for Sooner football, and just not a lot of positive feedback going on right now, bro. So tell us what you saw, what all you're thinking. I know you don't shy away from this. It's you kind of take on the attitude of it is what it is, and we are who we are right now. So what you thinking? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, like you said, I mean, we are who we are. Obviously, not very good right now. 5-5, boy, that's ugly. That's ugly.
Yeah,
That does not sound good at all. I think I might have saw something that said we're the worst team in the Big 12. I'm not really sure, but that's also very
yeah.
But I mean, like I said, at the end of the day, we're not very good right now, and we're trying to find answers on both sides of the ball. It's weird because I know we come on here and I know people are probably tired of hearing us say the same things, but a lot of this stuff is stuff that we can control. And that's the most unfortunate thing about the majority of this season is that, I mean, obviously you can't control TCU and Texas really, I mean, were there things we could do better? Definitely. But in a situation where you lose your guy like that, that's football. That's, so that's just sometimes how the dice roll. But in all the other games, literally in every single other game, we've had the chance to really control our own destiny, and we failed to do it. And one thing I told to the underclassmen, we have a leadership council with old guys, old leaders, middle class leaders, so sophomore, juniors, and then you got some freshmen, some younger leaders in there. Just trying to develop leaders throughout the seasons and, just throughout their career. And I was telling, some of the middle class and younger guys that I was like, hey, y'all, this isn't OU. Okay. Like, I don't want y'all to sit here and see the kind of season that we're having, the struggles that we're going, and be like, oh man, this is just the school that I came to. No, this isn't OU. I said that, it's hard to look at silver linings and things like this, especially because we put so much emphasis on this and we put our lives into this. We pour our heart and soul into everything, into the season. But the silver lining of this is, what I told the guys is, the reality of it is we've played in a whole bunch of games. We've won some good games and we've lost in a variety of different ways. We've got blown out. We've had close games. We lost this game at the end of the game-winning field goal. We've lost, trying to come back, onside kick, didn't convert. We lost in a variety of different ways. And if there's any silver lining is that the young guys that are seeing this have seen the different stuff that goes into losing. And I think that you said that a couple of weeks ago, to first, be able to win, first you have to learn how to not lose. And so being able to see, some of the mistakes that we made this year, I think going forward, those mistakes won't be made. I think that's the most important lessons that we got to learn. Right. So I told the guys, like, this isn't, oh, you don't expect to lose. We don't expect to lose here. We expect to win every game that we're played in. And not expecting it as in people are going to lay down. We're expecting it because of the work that we put in, the grind that we put in, and the overall commitment that we have to this, great university. Right. So I just told them, just stay the course. Just, believe different, because this isn't us. And all the variety, all the situations, learn from them. So next year because me and you, both of us been here, we're, at U for a couple of years, and we've been through every type of different games that there's been, that you can go through. And most of the times we came out on top of those games. Right. And it's just a learning process for those young guys. It's going to, allow them to go out there, see the situation, be like, oh, remember last year we did this, not going to do that again, learn from it and be better. So,
I don't have much to say about the actual game itself. But one thing that I noticed listening to you talk is your belief and your care for the program. What you just talked about is not I and what the team has to do to improve, to make your season better, to give you a senior happy tail ending. What you just discussed and explained to us is your care for these young guys and their futures and the future of the program. I don't want Sooner Nation to confuse what you said with you giving up.
Giving up, yeah.
And
no
some people, especially as of late, what I've learned is that when things are bad, it's like the sky is falling.
Mm-hmm.
We always say things are never as good as what they seem, and things are never as bad as what they seem. And that still holds true even when the bad is bad.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean that you're terrible. It just means you're not where you want to be. And for you to see that, recognize that, keep your composure as a leader, and take the time to talk to the young guys before your ending, before your time is over, is important, because you're feeding into the future generation. And that's something that I wish the fans would see. The negativity is not always the answer.
Right.
We say it all the time, positivity on the podcast, and that's not just because we're avoiding the negativity, but that's just the attitude that you have to have in life. The more you hang on to the downfall or something, the more energy you're outputting into the world, the more energy you're taking out of yourself to put into that negative energy. And so it's not my job to criticize. My criticism has no impact on you, but at the same time, it's a fan's job to be a fan. If that's what they want to do, then that's what they want to do. We're going to do what we're going to do, which is reflect and share our thoughts. And you're going to do what you're going to do, which is reflect, be better, and continue to improve in all aspects. So
yeah,
I respect where you're coming from. And hopefully there will continue to be some form of silver lining moving forward.
Yeah. I mean, I know people don't want to really hear this right now,
Yeah. I mean,
But, you take a couple plays go differently on the year. You take a 5-5 record and you make it maybe 7-2, or how many games we play? 8-2, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, situations you can't control, take them out the equation. We just are better in other situations. You're talking about 8-2, going to the Big 12, possibly having a chance to, just the way stuff shakes out, but also going to a good bowl game. But yeah, and like you said, I don't want people to confuse it with me giving up on the season. If anybody knows me, I don't give up on anything. And, I don't give up on anything. I'm going to fight till it's through. But like you said, I do have a deep, love for this university, my teammates, and this coaching staff. And I think they're going to do well. I just think that it takes time. And one thing I'll ask the fans to do is just be a little patient, I mean, it's a cliche, but Rome wasn't built overnight, and you just kind of have to have patience with things like this. like guys are learning, and it sucks that I'm not going to be able to be a part of something like that my last year. But overall, I think I want to leave. I think I'm going to leave this university in a better place than it was. Like, I wouldn't say when I inherited it, but like when I inherited it last year, talking about like the change of the eras, you know what I'm saying? With the, going into Coach Venable's era, that's the thing that I want most from this season, is to finish the season the right way and just give him a stepping stool to take the next step next year. Mm-hmm. Not even in him. When I mean him, and obviously I say Coach Venables, when I mean him, I'm talking about them, my players, my younger classmen, the coaching staff, all that good stuff. So, ain't no reason to sit up here and be negative. Like you said, that's a fan's job, but, to criticize it. But ain't no reason to sit up here and be negative. It really don't do nothing, Just, stay patient, be positive, and pour into these young guys because it means something.
You couldn't have said it any better. Ladies and gentlemen, coming up next, we got an interview with our guy. You all know him, Eddie R. I'm not going to attempt his last name. Eddie R. coming up next.
They are. Bald men are usually great men. Just think about it. I mean, you got The Rock.
My grandpa.
I mean, my dad.
Hey, bro, I wouldn't be surprised if one or multiple of those people use Freebird Grooming.
Freebird is on a mission to take out the hassle out of head care. Why? Because for too long, bald people have been left with subpar options when it comes to shaving and caring for their heads. They are here to change that by making head care easy and accessible.
Are you still using an old school razor to shave your head? Don't. Razors were designed to shave flat surfaces, not curved domes. Avoid painful nicks and cuts with a shaver actually designed for the head. Razors shave too close, often under the skin, so hair comes back as uncomfortable, irritating ingrowns.
Flex Series electric shaver is amazing. And for all my texting people, just imagine like a little fire emoji right there. It shaves 50% more hair in a single stroke compared to old school razors. Baby smooth shaves in 3 minutes or less, and it is waterproof. Shave wet or dry, even in the shower.
For upcoming holidays, birthdays, or just because, get yourself the best shaver of your life. Freebird is giving our listeners an exclusive discount. Visit myfreebird.com/prairie for 20% off. That's myfreebird.com/prairie for 20% off today. All right, Sooner Nation, you probably already know who it is based off the title. Coming in at 5'8", still growing, hopefully to hit 6 foot. Was 200 and whatever pounds, but now he's a little under 200 something pounds. He's lost 70 pounds over the past, I don't know how many. Yeah, there we go. Alex with the special effects. Hailing from, I actually just forgot.
Oklahoma City.
Yeah, there we go.
405.
OKC.
405 BLC.
Yeah, y'all hear the man, Eddie Radosevich. Baby, thank you for coming on to the podcast. And
you bet, guys. What's happening? How are we? This is a career highlight for me, getting invited on this. This is amazing. I never thought I would. We'll try to make it as awkward as possible.
Bro, we appreciate you, bro, because honestly, we didn't even think we would get this far. Like,
it's been awesome. It's been awesome watching you guys kind of grow this thing over the last year and a half. So it's been pretty cool. 2 years now, I guess.
2 years.
It's insane.
Believe it or not, bro, we're still just winging it. Like, we get on here half the time, we're like, what are we going to talk about?
Dude, that's the way I do a radio show every day. I mean, we don't do any planning. We probably should. It probably shows during the show, but it works out sometimes. Just wing it. That's the way you got to do it.
Sometimes that's the best way.
That's right. That's right.
Sometimes I'm asking Alex, I'm like, bro, what are we going to, because Alex, what we used to do, we always had like a plan, right?
Yeah.
And then this year we kind of got comfortable because we were doing so good at improvising. And now we're like, we should probably like prepare before we get on here.
I think it's good having like an outline or a basic idea of what you want to say. Like with daily radio, it's like we know like what we're going to talk about each day. And so we don't like plan everything out. But at the same time, I think that it's, I like a conversation, or I like to listen to a conversation more when it's not like a robot, like we need to hit this, and this.
Yeah, that's what I feel like. I feel like the reason people listen to our stuff is because it's genuine. We sit on here and we have a conversation, we talk,
Right.
we say what we actually mean. You know, it's not like you say robotic. So
right.
it works.
No, it's that I'm the exact same way. And I like podcasts that aren't like that planned out bull, whatever. I don't know if you guys cuss a lot on this, but I won't say anything.
No, you're
I
good,
won't.
man.
I will censor myself, which is good for you guys.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Well, before we move on, you must know, I know you're a crazy guy based off of all your tweets, and we're not going to curse or say anything appropriate on this interview, okay?
That's right. That's right. I promise. I know the FCC when they're listening on the radio, so we can probably work around some of the words that we'll use or would be intended to use.
Eddie, thank you once again for coming on to the podcast, man.
Absolutely.
The people kind of are familiar with who you are, and you are, Sooner Scoop, Franchise Oklahoma, Morning Show, all of that. But does everybody know how you got to where you are? Like, I don't know your story,
Yeah. I mean, I grew up in Oklahoma City, family season ticket holders for Oklahoma football games. So I grew up around it, went to OU, obviously, graduated in 2010. And then started working, I was working for rivals.com during college with Jeremy Crabtree and those guys. And I have these notebooks that I remember, he would basically send me 5-6 guys numbers a week, and they were all West Coast high school recruits. And I would call them during after 9 o'clock, because I could get done with school and get done with everything. That was back in the day. And this is probably just how much, recruiting has changed over the last 10, 15 years, just as far as those updates at the time were big deals. And now it's all the information on everybody's so far out there that, it's not that necessarily people don't care, but you don't have to do those types of updates. The style of reporting has changed. But I have these notebooks, and it's crazy going back through, and Cam Newton, when he was coming out of high school, just guys that you would never even imagine that what they would have turned into. So, started working for Rivals in college, and then when I graduated from OU, Kerry Murdoch and Josh McQuistion hired me. Been doing it for 10 years since, so it's kind of crazy. Seeing a lot of stuff here over the last, I don't know, I guess decade of covering OU football and basketball and baseball and stuff. So it's been fun. It's been a good ride.
One thing I will say I appreciate about you, and even in this interview now, bro, is your enthusiasm. I always tell people, you may not be doing something the right way, right? People may not even have a clue about what you're talking about, but as long as you're doing it with some enthusiasm, with some care, some genuineness, people will be attracted to your product. And I think that's something that you bring to the Oklahoma space on Twitter. When I think of you and what you post and the information and the way you convey it to your audience, I don't even think about what you actually do. Honestly, I forget half the time. Just being real, I think about the smile that you bring to my face whenever I'm scrolling through your page and that type of deal. That's why we follow you. The same reason why Brayden said people listen to us, just the casual conversation. That's why I follow you, just the casual energy. Where does that come from? Do you just have a passion for reporting?
Well, I mean, I guess so. No, I appreciate all those kinds of words. I think that there is a certain level of realness that comes that you probably don't get a whole lot on social media, or that you do get on the other side of social media, as far as people that have a general fakeness about them. And right. I don't know. I try to convey, if you come up and see me, at a bar or wherever in Oklahoma City, or at a game in Norman, I'm trying to be the same person that I am on Twitter. I hope that comes across for a lot of people. And I think that, nowadays there are, I think a lot of, people, obviously, they get into the business for, different reasons, various reasons. I think I truly kind of love what I do. I'm pretty lucky to do what I do. I think it's one of those things that there was a reality that hit me when I was probably a freshman or sophomore in high school that was you're probably not going to be a very good athlete. You're not going to be playing Division I football anytime soon. So, I had to make the decision, and that's kind of what I always wanted to do, was get into broadcast radio type stuff, and to be able to, kind of stay home and do it. in an area that I love and grew up in. It's been a lot of fun. And I think that there is a certain level of, I don't know, like maybe understanding. And I'm sure this is the same way at every university, just as far as you understand the fan base, you kind of know what they're going through, during the highest of highs and during the lowest of lows, obviously. And, I think that's why, and I think, media as a certain level has changed over the last 5-10 years with the way that games are covered, the way that, sites cover games, who covers games. And I think that, the fans want to be able to have a connection back into the program. And, if I can be somewhat of a go-between or a bridge for that, it's been, I that's kind of what we look at. But at the same time, I do think that, I take pride in what I do. I don't want to be a homer. I don't want to be somebody that's going to kiss everybody's ass when everything's not going well. So it is what it is. I've really enjoyed kind of the ride that everything's been on here over the last couple of years, though.
So if you, Brayden, and I were to go to the corner, specifically Logie's, go grab us a couple Crown and Cokes, you'd be the same Eddie on Twitter as you would right then and there, huh?
Yeah, I'd probably smoke a couple cigarettes. No, the Logie's wasn't there when I was in school. Like, they had Logan's, which is basically the same thing, but our place was 747. Like, that was the tried and true.
Okay.
We went there, and there was a place over by over by the dorms that you guys probably don't even know about this, but Mr. Bill's was over in Stubman Village, like just southeast of Adams Tower, like the dormitory and like that shopping center. It was amazing. It was like a smoky filled bar that was it was unbelievable. Ooh. It was like your very typical, stereotypical college bar. I think all the old people would definitely know what Mr. Bill's is.
Well, hey, that was the spot to take the sneaky link, Brayden. Mr. Bill's.
Nah. Too many people be there. I can't take it to Mr. Bill's.
Oh, yeah, true.
That's what it sounds like. It sounds like too many people at Mr. Bill's. I can't do that. Am I running into can't do that.
It was awesome. They there was only like two waitresses really true that ran the place, like two bartenders. They were both named Rita. One was a white girl, one was a black girl, and they were like the most awesome people. Like, they'd start making out with customers at the end of the night. It was an unbelievable place.
Wow. Wait, they were both named Rita?
They were both named Rita. And they both lived like, where the cow house is, like right around the corner from the dorms. It might have been painted differently now, but it used to be painted like a like white and black, like it was a cow. And they lived like catty corner to it. It was amazing. It was a true like you had to be there moment. This is probably going way over your guys' heads.
I'm still stuck on the fact that a black girl was named Rita.
Well, it might have been short for something. I have no idea, but she was awesome. She was awesome.
Eddie,
that sounds like
amazing, bro.
It was fun. It was fun. Seven wasn't around when you guys were there. Like, I guess maybe a little bit towards the end of your both of your guys' careers. Yeah, Sevens.
Yeah, bro. I had my official visit to Sevens, and I had a ball.
Yeah. It was there.
Just walking around in a circle the entire time.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
no, it was awesome.
Graduate
From OU?
Yeah.
2010.
2010? Okay, I got there. Yeah, my official was in 16. Sevens was still there.
Yeah. No, I'm old.
Oh, I'm getting old. Don't ask me how I was 17 years old and I got in the sevens, but anyways.
Everybody has their way to get in on those things, especially on officials, I would imagine.
Sometimes.
Oh, man, this is some good stuff. Eddie, you mentioned earlier how you've seen the highs of the highs and the lows of the lows. Brayden, cover your ears for a second. But this has been, as of late, a new low for Oklahoma. And I'm not familiar with this. I'm not familiar with the 500. I know Brayden isn't either, and I'm not going to make him talk much more on it.
Yeah.
But tell us your perspective, your opinion, and your general thoughts of the state of the program.
Yeah, kind of is what it is right now. I think that, we did our post-game podcast last night, and we did our wrap-up stuff from Morgantown last night, and I think that, like, once you get to the 10th game of the season, and, I'm sure that Brayden, you guys get sick of us from the media side having to ask about it, just as far as, like, the inattention to detail, things that, should be getting taken care of or getting pushed into the right direction. And I think that everybody just kind of goes, well, why does this continue to happen? And, I think that, like, just from a big picture standpoint, when, Oklahoma brings in Brent Venables, I think that there was a lot of people that, you go, okay, if there's one thing that they're going to do, they're going to be able to control, and that's discipline, just flat out discipline of a football team, whether that be making tackles, being in the right gap, being able to line up, not jumping on 4th and 1, not lining up off sides on 4th and 1 on the opposite side of the football. It's just the little things that, you look up and all of a sudden you're 5-5. And, I think that, what all 3 of the 5 losses have been by 1 score and in position to win the game with less than 4 or 5 minutes left in the 4th quarter. So, I think that that's frustrating because you thought that was going to be able to be, kind of alleviated, or at least not something that you have to worry about. And, I think from the outside looking in, it feels like a, kind of a fragile situation, just as far as, the way that the new staff has had to come in and they're trying to instill things. But then again, there is a culture within the program that it's not like they're taking over a program that went 3-8 last year either. So it's been, I don't know, it's been kind of fascinating. Obviously the fans are going to be angry, but at the same time, they're the same people that would be extremely happy if everything was going well. Everybody would be, getting $100 handshakes on the side. But it just, I don't know. It's been not what I think obviously anybody's expected. I'm the one thing that I think that I always forget about, and I'm sure that, Brayden would know this more than anybody, that, the people that are going to bitch and complain on Twitter and social media and all that kind of stuff, the vocal minority is usually the loudest. And I think, for the most part, the majority knows that, or believes that Brent and, this staff can get everything progressing into the right direction here over the next couple of years. But, you keep putting out performances, and I don't know, this is just awkward, but, like, keep putting performances out how they played yesterday. I think that there's a certain level of, the fan base isn't going to accept it. And it is kind of unacceptable to put that out there at the University of Oklahoma. I think everybody knows that.
Yeah. It's a little bit weird saying they when you got the captain right here, huh?
Yeah. No, it is. It is. But Brayden knows that. Like, I would say that to his face, if we were in person. It just, like, it is what it is. I've been surprised that it hasn't come together, more quickly this year. It just seems like every time that there's a chance to get momentum within a game, or to be able to get off the field on 3rd down or 4th and 10 like yesterday, it's like it doesn't happen. And then on the flip side, it's something else with the offense.
Yeah.
Brayden, I agree.
You can go ahead. What were you going to say?
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I mean, I think, Eddie kind of hit it on the head and said exactly what I said off air, or maybe on air. I can't remember at this point. But you take, 3 of those games, and I said the same, Eddie. I said 2 of those games. I mean, obviously the TCU Texas game, that's a sticky situation. Football, that's just sometimes how the cookie crumbles. Quarterback goes out. Tough situation, okay? You take those 2 out the picture. But you take the rest of the games this season, the losses that we've, had this season, and those are losses that we kind of brought upon ourselves. All credit to the other teams and everything, always. But,
sure.
I mean, man, there's real opportunities there. And you take a couple plays out of those games, just a couple too, not even a lot, just a handful of them, maybe 3, maybe 4. And you turn them the other way, and you're talking about an 8-2 season compared to a 5-5 season,
which is drastically different at this point. And, it is crazy. Like, and you hear Brent talk about it, and it's kind of cliche from a coaching standpoint, but, game of inches, every foot matters, little things, attention to detail, and things break the other way. Obviously we're talking about something else.
Yeah. I mean, and, I wish I told you all this off air. I wish I could point to bunch of reasons and tell everybody and be like, you know what, this is why we're not too good right now. You know, it's this, you know, or it's this.
Yeah.
But quite frankly, it really truly is mind-boggling. I know y'all have heard it in the media from Coach V, you know, but the buy-in was there all year long. We were doing extra work when, you know, most schools were still at home. We came back a week earlier to do extra work. We were doing voluntary like practices, got together 2-3 times a week in the summer. So it really is kind of like I said, mind-boggling. It especially this late in the season. So I you know, I can't give too many answers on why not. But what I can do as a leader is just continue to teach and just make sure that the younger guys know, like I said earlier in the podcast, this is the OU. And, you know, now that you've seen a lot of different situations, you might have, you have the answers to the test. And now in the future, you'll be able to change those outcomes of these games.
Brayden, let me ask you this, and then Eddie, I'll come back to you with another question. One of the plays that I can distinctively remember, because it was you. It's not like this happens often, but we're going to use you as an example because you're convenient.
Right.
Yesterday, you ran what I know as Redskin, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you ran 1 yard past the line of scrimmage. They call the play back. Ultimately could have been a touchdown, and those are one of the quote unquote discipline plays that Eddie was talking about, something that was completely in our control.
Right.
You know, something that should have been a touchdown. And I know you do know this. I'm not criticizing you, but these are some of the moments that we've talked about in the past, and you haven't have many of these. But in order for, like we said, a young guy, right, to learn from those type of mistakes, what does that process look like? So for you to not make that mistake again, what does that look like for you, and how does that look like for everybody else that maybe we're not seeing the connection for like the next game? Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
Where is the learning from the mistakes? Why isn't that? Like, is there a reason? Or I don't know. I'm not asking for you to point out one thing, but how do you approach correcting your mistakes?
You know, it's kind of tricky because a lot of the situations that are happening are like, how do I say this? They're the same situations, but have happened in different ways. And what I mean by that is, that penalty that was called, you know, the blocking down the field and, you know, me being a yard past the line of scrimmage, hasn't been called this year, but really has never been presented this year. And, you know, we got, you know, kind of a tackle that's a little bit deep into the backfield. I'm going around him, and I'm thinking just get a little bit more vertical so I have a step on the guy that might be chasing me from the inside, right? So I think at that point is just, okay, well, that happened. We see it on film. Now it's just an alignment and, alignment standpoint at that. How can I put myself in a better situation? It's so much little things that go into football. And that's the biggest thing that we need to advocate to the young guys. You just can't go out there and play, right? Obviously, in that situation, you know, super small detail that comes back in a big way. But at that point, it's just alignment. You know, I align a little bit deeper, take my motion a little bit deeper in the backfield. That same way, I, you know, come around the tackle, well, maybe I don't have to be as far upfield at that time, you know? So, just alignment, and then just being detailed to it, you know?
Yeah.
But
knowing those
in terms of your, you know, your latter question, and how do you, you know, teach the young guys? It's just, this whole season at this point has been a learning process, right? So just making sure that, like I said earlier, the young guys see this, understand some of the things that in situations that we have been in this season, and they can correct that going forward. You know, obviously I'm gonna be there to correct that in the now and, you know, make sure, but I'm not gonna always be here. So it's imperative for me to tell these guys, you know, give the leaders of next year's team little tidbits and aspects where they can, you know, help themselves and others, do better. So it's a process of fixing myself, obviously, but then telling the younger guys how I fixed myself so that they can go about it and fixing themselves and fixing other teammates in the future. Long answer, loaded answer, but yeah.
No, you're good. That's exactly what people need to hear. Eddie, from a reporter standpoint, you see the Sooners struggling this year. How do you approach your job and reporting? Is there a particular bias that you are projecting, as in the positivity of the Venables era, or is your reporting neutral, straightforward, and you're just saying, hey, this is where we are? Are you providing Sooner Nation hope? Like, what is your stance and how you approach what you do?
Maybe a little bit of everything, like a little bit of all of the above. And, the thing that sucks, I think, for everybody is just from a media standpoint and the way that we present things, whether it be on Sooner Scoop or Twitter or wherever, it's tough because you're either going to, it's like everything in this world. You're either going to have, people over here, you're going to have people over here. They don't want anything in the middle. And I think you can say, like, both things can be true, is that, obviously this hasn't gone how everybody thought it would go. And as disappointing as that is, and as angry as people can be about it, you can also still say, but I still believe that, this staff and, this program is going to be okay in the long run with Brent Venables' leadership. So it's been tough, man. This has been one of the more trying years, I think, that just from a standpoint of, there's not really a whole lot, we can say on a podcast, or we can say on the radio show, or, on Sooner Scoop, or on the message boards, or wherever, that's going to make anybody feel better about the situation.
Yeah.
And, there's so much venom just, I think, within the fan base right now, because, there's a lot of people, and especially the vocal majority or the vocal minority that are out there on social media. They don't give a damn about the process of building a foundation for the program. They just worry about going or being able to go into their office on Monday and being able to give the person that works with them in the break room a bunch of hell because Oklahoma won up 50-0 on Saturday, and they've been able to do that for the last 5, 6, 7 years. So, I think that it's been a long time coming. This year, as far as a lot of things catching up with the program, and unfortunately, it's kind of unfolded like it has, and it just comes down to making more plays than the other team. And some of those games, like Brayden said, they've been games in the fourth quarter that if you can get off the field, or if you can go make a play, you have a chance to go win, and you just haven't been able to do that. And I think the toughest thing for Oklahoma fans is that for so long they have been able to make that play, or they have been able to get off the field. And when you don't have historically great offenses like they had in 17, 18, and 19, to somewhat bail the other side of the ball out, this is kind of the reality that you live in, or you get a penalty that you weren't getting in some of those other games in the past couple of years. So it's been interesting, man. Like, I think that yesterday was kind of the first time, and this is me saying it for anybody that's out there. Brayden certainly not saying that. That was the first time that I thought that there were some coaching decisions that I was like, what's going on here? I thought, and I've already said this on the podcast, so it's already out there, but I thought I thought kicking the field goal with 6.5 minutes left was asinine. But it's one of those things that I think that even Brent as a head coach is going to have to continue to develop, continue to kind of figure out how to lead in those certain situations, or make those decisions. Maybe not lead, but just make those decisions. And I think that there's a lot of things that are still coming together under a first-year head coach that are evident that sometimes it doesn't go the way that everybody thought it was going to go.
Right.
And you kind of get the results that you did on Saturday in Morgantown.
I will say that I hope this season, if anything, allows for the fans as well as the players to recognize, the young guys specifically, that winning is hard.
Yeah.
The Big 12, Eddie, I don't know if you know, but I've brought up Lincoln's names a couple times throughout this season. And he always used to tell us, like, people overlook the fact that winning is hard.
Everybody,
Big 12, the SEC.
I'd sit in the back and roll my eyes when he would talk about, like, winning Big 12 games is hard, because Oklahoma had done it for so long, and at such a consistent level. But sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but it's just like I 100% agree that especially around here, the idea of winning football games and playing elite football has been taken for granted for a long, long time. A long time.
Like I said, like you said, like it's been taken for granted by the fans. It's also been taken for granted by, the players. You got guys coming in that, don't know, and not pointing the fingers at like any freshman this year. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm just saying in general, when you have a program that has had so much success, you got guys that typically come into programs like that and haven't earned anything like that, but just go out there and expect to win. I've said this on the podcast before, just expect to win because you got OU on the helmet. And that's not how it works. You know what I'm saying? You got to go out there and earn it. You expect to win because you're OU, but not because like you're expecting another team to lay down. You expect to win because, like I said, the work that you put in, the grind that you have endured, the top caliber coaches and, the all the game planning and all that stuff that goes into it. But I think it has been taken for granted for a long time, and like I said, I hate that it happened it's happened in my senior year, but it happens everywhere,
everywhere,
every school,
and in every bit of life, right? You look at football on paper, right? I know I'm going to upset some people with this one, right? But on paper, the Dallas Cowboys are better than almost every single team in the NFL, right? Losing. Alabama, all the 5 stars, 6-2. Why aren't they back in the national championship? Oklahoma, on paper, is better than almost the rest of the Big 12, maybe except for Texas. I think they have a few more 4 or 5 stars, right? Caleb, let's see. Spencer Rattler, 5-star quarterback. He was this and that. Like, it's still losing. Your marriage, right? People who can relate to this. Your marriage. You think you marry the best person in the world. You don't think there's going to be some trouble at some point in that marriage, like
right?
Just because you have the tools, that doesn't mean the outcome of the product that you are developing is going to be successful. And so hopefully this humbles our audience. It definitely has humbled me as a podcast host, because you really find out who can host a good show when you're losing. My podcast people can relate to this one. What type of podcast host? Do you really love to host podcasts when you're losing?
It's not the easiest thing getting up on a Monday morning and having to roll into a radio studio or into a podcast studio and talk about everything that unfolded on Saturday. I can't imagine having to do it the day after like you are right now, Brayden.
Try doing it when you played in the game. Oh, my God.
Dude, that was yesterday from a weather standpoint. That's
horrible.
Top 3 most miserable game I've been on the field for.
That was bad.
2013 up in Manhattan was like, I think it was wind chill was like below 0. Bedlam was below 0. The same, a couple weeks later. Those 2 are the probably 1A, 1B. This was maybe number 2 though, just from a standpoint.
I tried to tell them.
I was not prepared. Like I had jackets and stuff, but it was just so wet the entire game.
I tried to tell them. I mean, 30, 39, 40 degrees. And the crazy thing is, it started off being a nice day. It was like 51, no wind.
Dude, when it came out for the second half, second half was like 10 degrees colder than it was in the first half.
Yeah. Like you could feel it start blowing in. By the end of the game, for the fans, I barely wear anything talking about under the pads, right? I have a shirt, but it's cut, right? I mean, by the end of the game, because it's been raining, it's so cold, I'm growing like icicles on my hairs and stuff like that. Like I'm in that thing. I mean, there was really one point where like we're on kickoff return and I'm looking at the kickoff team and we're both looking at each other. And I have a side moment where I'm like, y'all know the movie 300 where the Spartans were in the rain and they were fighting. And I was really like, that's really us right now. It was in terrible conditions. It's cold. It's raining. We're really out here slugging it out. And, you know,
I don't think the people realize how much it was raining.
Warm.
It was good when you were on the field, but when you go off the field, and then me, I pride myself on being a tough guy, and there's so many people by the heaters, so I don't even mess with it. So I wasn't even going by the heaters, but yeah, that was I've never played in a game like that, so that was an experience for sure.
Tough game.
Drenched, water dripping off the face mask. You hit somebody. First off, my helmet was chipping. I guess that means I was laying the wood. You saw that? My helmet was chipping. So,
I was looking at your helmet. I was like, what is that black thing on his helmet? Then I was like, oh, he doesn't have paint there.
Yeah, I was. He's banging. Water coming down, the face mask, and all types of stuff. You taking gloves off. And the funny thing was, it was stop rain. You taking gloves off, you putting it on. I was just like, I'm just gonna keep them on. It
was awful.
We should have got Eddie some
miserable
weather gear.
Oh, and then I had a
somebody should have sent me some.
I had a hand warmer. And then they gave at the beginning of the game, they're like, just in case it rains, here's this waterproof hand warmer. I'm like, okay, cool. I tried to use it during the game. Yeah, it wasn't. It was not.
It
wasn't waterproof.
It was not waterproof.
No, there's no.
Send that back to Nike. That's Nike's fault. I'll get on their ass.
That thing was soaked. To be fair, Nike is gonna be like, did y'all see the game y'all played in? To be fair, it was pouring. Okay, but yeah, did not work.
That was the wettest I've been after a game, just as far as pause. That was the weird. That was just weird though. It was, my feet were like, I was not prepared. And Morgantown's been weird because I think that was probably, from a temperature standpoint, the warmest it's ever been when we've been up there. I'm trying to think, 16 and 18, it snowed pretty hard up there. Was it 18 that it was like snowstorm basically? When
we weren't there.
Was that 16?
That was 16.
It might have been 16 then.
I remember watching
16.
That on TV.
That's when 18. When we went up there, it was cold. Yeah, when we went up there 18. It was cold, but it wasn't like raining or snowing or nothing like that. It was just really cold.
He's talking about in 16 when Didi had 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, the snowstorm.
Yeah, that was a hell of a game.
Where they took that picture and you could barely see nothing behind them.
Yeah, it was a blizzard up there at the beginning of the game. You walked out, came down the tunnel or whatever, and it's like, oh, okay, this is going to be an interesting night.
Well, Eddie, this is all the time we got for you this week, man. Thank you for coming on
I appreciate it. I appreciate it, guys. Anytime.
Before we let you go, is there anything you want to share with the people? Anything on your mind? Any motivation, shout outs, or something you got before you leave?
No, I think that it's just one of those things that people are going to be disappointed, and rightfully so. I think that both of you guys would agree that there's reason for disappointment right now within the program, but I do think that I'm still a firm believer that Brent Venables is going to be able to figure this thing out. It's just going to take some time, and I think that there are some pretty hard realities and some pretty hard truths that I think everybody is going to just kind of have to look in the mirror and accept. And then you got to, it's one of those things, you can either learn from it, like Brayden has said, and the young guys are going to learn from it, and the program's going to find a foundation here in the first year. Or, I think that there'll be some people that, probably have to exit the program, and they're going to get guys in there that want to be there. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all kind of turns out. And, obviously with Bedlam this week, I think that catches anybody's attention here in the state of Oklahoma. So, it's probably not the game and the expectations of the game that everybody thought it was going to be when we started this thing. But it is what it is. I love college football to death, and there's going to be a point where here over the next 2 weeks that the season comes to a close, the regular season comes to a close, and I think that everybody's going to look up in the middle of December and January, and you kind of get that itch again, and you kind of get that need for college football. So you might as well enjoy it while you have it. And I appreciate you guys having me on, and Brayden, enjoy the final dance at the Palace there on Saturday.
Thank you,
Mr. Radosevich. Appreciate you for your time.
Absolutely, guys. Anytime.